Well, yeehaw and howdy, partners. Welcome to the Old West. Well, the Old West as Hollywood envisioned it anyway. Hi, I'm William Gilmore for Hike-LosAngeles.com. And today, I'm at the Paramount Movie Ranch near Agoura Hills in the Santa Monica Mountains. Now, this was a filming location for countless motion pictures and television shows for nearly a century. And today, this location has been preserved as a national park, which makes it ideal for hikers. There's a 2.5-mile loop trail through a chaparral environment and leads around a valley oak savanna, all played out against the backdrop of the stunning Santa Monica Mountains. And of course, there's this 1880s recreation of an old western town. So take a hike with me, Los Angeles, through cinematic history on the trails at the Paramount Ranch. In 1927, Paramount Pictures purchased 2,700 acres in the Santa Monica Mountains for use as a movie ranch. This allowed the studio to recreate numerous exterior locations from around the world right in their own backyard. For the next 2.5 decades, the ranch hosted such film industry giants as Cecil B. DeMille, Bob Hope, Gary Cooper, and Claudette Colbert. But it was the scenery that was the real star at the ranch.
Oh, the Cisco Kid and his friend Poncho. I've seen those troublemakers before. I wonder what they're doing in this area.
Entering the park, you cross a small bridge over the Medea Creek and step back nearly 140 years in time to this permanent collection of buildings known as the Old Western Town, featuring a hotel, general store, farmer's exchange, sheriff's office, and a train station. Seen in countless film and television productions, the town is probably most familiar to viewers as the home of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Children, Dr. Quinn, Mr. Sully, I'd like you to meet my wife, Lillian, your new stepmother.
Stepmother?
There are a number of paths leading into the hills beyond the western town, and we will be combining a number of them to create a loop trail around the Valley Oak Savanna. The trail begins just past the train station on the Coyote Trail. The Coyote Trail is a gently rolling path that's a little wider than a single track, and the foliage can be quite dense on either side of the trail, but occasionally the landscape will open up and you get these great views of the hills and the surrounding mountains. The trail is also shared with equestrians though, so sometimes you gotta watch where you step. The Coyote Trail transitions easily onto the Hacienda Trail as you approach the southern edge of the Valley Oak Savanna. The Hacienda Trail is named for an old ranch house, hence the name Hacienda, that used to stand alongside the trail and was used as a set piece for filming. Now, one of the first things you probably noticed when you connected with the Hacienda Trail from the Coyote Trail was that change in foliage. You were walking through a sort of dense tunnel of chaparral, and that has begun to thin out now, with the chaparral moving up the slopes to your left, while on your right, the views are opening up to these magnificent vistas of the Valley Oak Savanna. Crossing a small wooden bridge, the Hacienda Trail connects with the Medicine Woman Trail right on the edge of the savanna for some incredible views across the rolling hills to the distant mountains. These savannas occur naturally due to wildfire or man-made causes like grazing, which keeps the shrub brush at bay and allows grasses to take root, creating a plains-like effect dotted with coastal live oaks. As you skirt the Oak Savanna on the Medicine Woman Trail, you really do get a sense of why Hollywood chose places like this to film in. I mean, with the grassy bald field back here, the magnificent oaks, and of course, those giant mountains in the background, this really is a magical place that can be transformed to just about anywhere in the world. Continuing only a short distance on the Medicine Woman Trail, you will snake around the southwestern edge of the savanna to connect with the Backdrop Trail. But first, you'll have to pass through the Witch's Wood. The Witch's Wood is where fortune tellers, gypsies, and other practitioners of the dark arts gathered in 1963 to read the palms and cast the fortunes of those willing to pay the price. They were all part of the original Renaissance pleasure fair that operated in the park in the 60s and 70s. The fair has long since moved on, but I've been told that malevolent spirits still haunt these woods, and one would be advised not to be caught here after sundown, which coincidentally is the same time the park closes. From the Witch's Wood, you will climb a small hill to the junction with the Backdrop Trail. The backdrop trail is the longest segment of our hike, coming in at just under 1 mile. The trail meanders gently around the rear of the savanna, cutting in and out of the foliage, providing intermittent shade along with these grand vistas across the savanna to Sugarloaf Peak. It is from this southerly facing position that the backgrounds and establishing shots for countless movies have been filmed. It's this dramatic view of Sugarloaf Peak that created the interior look of a South Seas island in the 1937 film Ebb Tide. As you make your way around the savanna, you'll notice a number of single-track paths that connect to the loop trail. These are what the Park Service calls social trails, and basically they're shortcuts across the savanna. Now, sometimes the trail junctions with the social paths can be a little confusing, particularly if you're using the trail map provided by the Park Service. The map is not entirely accurate, and it doesn't depict all the trails that are out here, and the ones it does depict are sort of generalizations. Of course, I recommend that you download the map and trail guide from our website that contains all the highlights of the park with the loop trail highlighted with all the trail junctions. And because it's satellite-based imagery, you'll be able to visualize where you are anywhere in the park. But with or without a map, if you ever have a question as to where you are in the park or what trail to take, just remember, the loop trail follows the perimeter of the savanna, whereas the social trails cut across the savanna as shortcuts. The end of the backdrop trail hairpins onto the Boana Trail, taking you directly across the heart of the savanna, through the wild oats and blankets of yellow blooming tarweed. The trail is named for the 1952 film Boana Devil, starring Robert Stack, and is notable as the first 3D movie shot in color. Though portions of the film were shot in Africa, additional scenes were shot here, with the windswept hills of the Paramount Ranch acting as a stand-in for the plains of Africa. About halfway across the savanna is a small hill with a cluster of oak trees on top. This is Marco Polo Hill, and represented ancient China in the 1938 Gary Cooper film, The Adventures of Marco Polo. Returning to the perimeter of the savanna, you will once again connect with the Medicine Woman Trail for a brief stint before embarking on the last leg of your journey on the Paramount Ranch Road. As you near the end of your hike, the Medicine Woman Trail will connect with this small bit of pavement called Paramount Ranch Road. Now, although it's called Paramount Ranch Road, it's really not connected with Paramount. It's actually the remaining remnants of a racetrack that was built in the 1950s. In fact, just up ahead here, you'll be able to see the wide banking curves of the track. It was considered one of the most challenging tracks in the U.S., but it only lasted for about 2 years because they didn't put any guardrails in, and there were several fatalities, and the track was deemed unsafe and therefore closed, consigning it to just a footnote in history at the Paramount Ranch. Once you come off the racetrack, you'll return to the train station here in the old western town where we began our hike and complete the loop. So in just about 2 hours, 2.5 miles, we've gone from a South Seas island to ancient China to the plains of Africa and returned here to the American West. Now, if you'd like to know more about this hike or any of our other hikes, please check us out on the web at www.Hike-LosAngeles.com. Here you'll find trail guides, maps, photos, and additional videos to hikes all across the Los Angeles area. So until next time, I'm William Gilmore, asking you to take a hike Los Angeles right here on Hike-LosAngeles.com.